The Transportation Empowerment Act, again, briefly, what would it do and why does that matter?
Okay, the Transportation Empowerment Act would allow state governments to do more with less money relative to the development of their transportation infrastructure. In a nutshell, it would take the current federal gasoline tax, which is 18.4 cents per gallon, and lower it to 3.7 cents per gallon. The portion of that 18.4 cents per gallon that would remain in the federal government's hands after this passed, that 3.7 cents per gallon, would be there for the maintenance of the federal highway system, the interstate highway network. The rest of that money could then be collected by the states and spent by the states without the federal regulatory overlay.
The difference between in other words, the states would get a shot at about 15 cents a gallon.
Yes. The difference between the 18.4 cents per gallon and the 3.7 cents per gallon would then be something that could be collected and spent entirely by the states without the federal regulatory overlay. For instance, the Davis-Bacon wage requirements and all the other federal regulations that make all of these federal transportation projects a lot more difficult, time-consuming, and expensive. The net result of all of this is that we would get more roads and more bridges, in some cases more transit systems, developed for less money. And they could be developed faster and more effectively, more efficiently. This in turn would ultimately lead to an increase in the supply of affordable housing. More Americans could live closer to where they work because this transportation money would be spent more effectively, more efficiently.
Okay, the premise is that the states can spend it better than the feds.
Yes.
Got it.
And it should never be going to Washington in the first place, especially given that what Washington does is it takes the money to Washington, runs it through Washington's filter, skims a lot of money off the top, then sends it back to the states with all these conditions attached to it. Conditions that make this money not go nearly as far as it could go as if you just left it in the states to begin with.
How many co-sponsors did you get for that?
You know, I don't remember off the top of my head how many co-sponsors.
But it wasn't 99. You didn't get.
It was not 99. This tends to be quite popular among Republicans, and for reasons that I have yet entirely to understand, it is less than wildly popular among Democrats. There is a lot of comfort in this town with leaving things in the hands of the federal government, notwithstanding the fact that we have butchered program after program after program, as we have concentrated in Washington, D.C., all these programs that really should never have been national programs to begin with.